Hello everybody and welcome to our session today on the Freshwater Challenge, mobilising transboundary action to achieve ambitious goals. As someone who's spent most of the last 10 years running ridiculous distances along some of the most degraded waterways on the planet and meeting hundreds of people who've shared their stories about the impact this has had on their lives and their livelihoods, their farms, their businesses and their communities, I can honestly say this conversation is well overdue. As we've all heard too many times from too many people in too many places, we need real action, and we need it now. The Freshwater Challenge is the attempt by the global community to drive real change, aiming to ensure 300,000 kilometres of degraded rivers and 350 million hectares of degraded wetlands are committed to restoration by 2030. It also aims to protect freshwater ecosystems to accelerate progress towards climate, biodiversity and sustainable development goals. Born at the UN Water Conference in New York in 2023 following the signing of the historic Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and given a huge boost at COP28 in Dubai, where it became an official water outcome for the first time of the COP presidency. The Challenge's membership now includes 46 countries and the European Union. And just for scale, those 46 countries contain over 30% of the world's renewable freshwater resources and are home to almost 2 billion people. Today, I'm really pleased to have two of those countries here today, Brazil and Kenya. Both countries have seen firsthand the water-related impacts of climate change in recent years. You've both suffered through droughts and floods, and both of you are taking action to protect and restore water bodies to help your societies and economies adapt, and to build the thing we all know we need, climate resilience. But you also know that investing in freshwater resources, in healthy rivers, lakes, peatlands, mangroves, and other wetlands is also central to more than just climate adaptation. Because healthy freshwater and coastal ecosystems are also central to water and food security, reversing nature loss and driving sustainable development. So whilst the challenge is also country-led, there is also a core group of supporting partners working with members to accelerate action, including Conservation International, IUCN, the Secretariat of the Convention on Wetlands, the Nature Conservancy Wetlands International, UNCCC, UNEP, and WWF. I'm pleased that we also have one of those representatives here today, UNEP, Diana, especially because I know that the challenge was launched under the auspices of the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. And together on this panel today, we will talk more about how organisations are also coming together to support the commitments under the challenge. So just for all of you watching on television, online, before we start, just a quick word on timing. You will see that we've only got a 20-minute limit on our conversation today. And at the 20-minute mark, unfortunately, we will say farewell to all of you online, but we will continue with a 20-minute Q&A amongst the audience here in person. So we're going to run the panel as a rapid-fire opportunity to hear from all of you your thoughts on where we're at with the Freshwater Challenge and what's needed. Just so everybody knows, I've asked you to keep your comments to be as brief as possible, and I will try to make a tap 30 seconds before you need to finish, just so we have an idea on timing. So let's go. Freshwater Challenge. Yara, let me start with you first. You're a director within the Ministry for Environment and Climate Change in Brazil. You have exemplary ambitions to protect, to restore, and to better manage our critical ecosystems for your role in agriculture and other key sectors in your own country. Can you tell us a bit more about how the Freshwater Challenge is helping you to meet these grand ambitions?
Yes. Well, Brazil is updating right now 4 of its national plans, the combat to desertification, climate change, biodiversity, and native vegetation. So the Freshwater Challenge helps us to use the water to link these 4 plans and bring the same goals for the aquatic ecosystem. So our main objective in the 4 of these plans is restoring riverbanks, in different biomes of Brazil, not only Amazonia, but also Caatinga and Pampas and Cerrado, in a way to create this awareness about the aquatic ecosystem in the national plan. So acting more in the governance aspect, but also bring into action to restore this ecosystem as well. So probably we'll have a goals for all these national plans for the riverbanks restoration.
Okay, I think it's super interesting what you're doing to implement this on the ground. And I think, one of the challenges in many of the water conversations we have is to identify and create leadership. So thank you very much for stepping up and being one of the first countries to actually start to think about how not only you're going to become a signatory to the Freshwater Challenge, but also to implement it on the ground.
Thank you.
Andrew, another country that is also showing leadership on this issue is Kenya. You are a director in the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. How is the Freshwater Challenge helping you to meet your ambitions?
Thank you very much, moderator. Yes, we are very happy to be in the Freshwater Challenge because it's definitely going to help us to move into action, because we have signed so many commitments, be they international or national. We have many statutes, we have regulations and laws, but we want to move into action. And the Freshwater Challenge is helping us very much because it has tangible monitoring network that we want to craft ourselves. The countries will craft some tangible monitoring network so that we say if we have recovered 2 kilometers of a river, we can see it is from coordinate A to coordinate B. So we really, we are happy and raring to go because we want actually to move into action, because in the past we have had so many thoughts, but only on the shelves. When you go to the ground, they have not been implemented. So we are seizing this opportunity of joining this Freshwater Challenge to move into action, so that we can have some time, because we are a water scarce country. In fact, our water availability per capita is below 1,000, and 70% of our country is ASAL. So we really must conserve and protect the water resources that we have and reclaim those ones that we have lost if we have really to provide water to our citizenry. So we are very happy that we are going to use this challenge among other opportunities that are there to reclaim what has been lost in terms of our freshwater ecosystems. Thank you.
I think one of the things that's interesting from the comments that you have both made is the idea of you leveraging the Freshwater Challenge as a kind of umbrella to bring together existing but also the opportunities for new initiatives under a system which has the possibility of monitoring and ensuring that you can track the impact that all of these are having. And I think that this is in many ways a novel mechanism that's been created. So novel mechanisms always require some form, again, of leadership, in this case from UNEP. Diana, the UN member states recently passed an ambitious new water resolution at the UNEA last year, which I was incredibly fortunate to have been able to witness in person. And I've got to tell you, for those of you watching online, the excitement in the room of 195 plus 2 member states that were all present was really palpable. You could feel that this was a real critical moment in the evolution of water. You are the Director of Freshwater Resources at UNEP. How will this help UNEP and other partners take forward commitments like the Freshwater Challenge?
Well, I think the conversation is evolving. We are hearing more and more the passion, the motivation, the inspiration, and we're hearing leadership from countries, as well as we have the practical actors on the ground that have this experience, right, of working across boundaries, working across systems, working across sectors. And I think that that's really a moment that we're trying to seize, especially as the United Nations Environment Programme. Our work on this transboundary action is just absolutely critical. A lot of work might stop at a border, but we know that that's not real, right? Water weaves its way. It weaves across provinces, counties, communities, and people. And, we really need to figure out how to translate the ways of working across water, across boundaries, into palpable plans, into policies, but also into practice. So we also know that the world is not on track to meet SDG 6, and that's really alarming. It's super worrying because we're not only having challenges managing water, but we're losing freshwater ecosystems at the most alarming rate. And those ecosystems uphold our right to a healthy environment, a human right to a healthy environment, as well as our human right to safe and healthy drinking water. So we really need to take water as this piece that can actually bring multiple stakeholders together, multiple communities, multiple countries working across a basin, across also place and time through experience to really unlock the opportunity that transboundary collaboration is. You mentioned that, Mina, that this was launched under the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. That decade has both the action-oriented, like let's do the restoration work, but it has a very strong protection. Let's stop doing what we know is not really good for people or for our cities and also for our communities. So I think what was amazing at the early this year, seems a while ago now, but early this year when all countries and the 9 major groups and stakeholders came together to support and the countries wrote a resolution on water. And this water resolution talks about scaling up action, going across boundaries and working across sectors and systems at all levels to tackle the triple planetary crisis of the loss of nature and biodiversity, the challenges of climate change, and also pollution, just to name a few. But we've got the work and the data, and later on this week, the UN water teams that have been working hard, and UNEP as a custodian of SDG indicator monitoring. We have the data for you, for everyone to look at and make the decisions that you need to. We need to know, though, where the places are that are critical to protect, also the critical to act. Thanks.
Thanks, Diana. I wonder if particularly Andrew and Iona, if you can respond to what Diana is saying, because I think what UNEP has done is to create a platform together with its partners, IUCN, WWF, and many of the other organizations that have come together to support this freshwater challenge, to say, here is something you can all use. And you too have taken the leadership to put your hand up and say, we're going to sign this now, and we're going to become a part of this movement. What would you say to your fellow countries who have not yet made the commitment to join the Freshwater Challenge? If you could say one sentence to each of them, what would you say? I know this is a question without notice, so have a bit of a think, but I'm just really interested in what it's going to take to get more countries around the world to step up to the Freshwater Challenge.
Well, I would say 2 advices. That one, it was get in touch with the river basin committees from your region, because in Brazil, all regions have their own river basin committee, because they have their water plans with action plans. So who are interested can adopt an action. And those who are not yet involved and engaged with this cause, I would say track the water in your life. How is this important for you, and what would happen if the water come missing or coming in too much amount? Because then would help them to reflect why this discussion also is important for them. And I give you the floor.
Thank you very much. What I would tell them is that we in Kenya, we have seen taps running dry, literally taps running dry. So it is time that they joined, because if you wait, then your taps are also going to run dry. And then you are going to say, oh, I wish I'd joined. So please, let's all join the Freshwater Challenge. It's for the betterment of the whole world, all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, having run in both of your countries and many, many others, I can tell you that for those of you that are thinking about joining the Freshwater Challenge or wondering what it's going to take to sign up and participate in it, I can say that There is definitely a demand on the ground. There are definitely people out there, communities, businesses, and supply chains that are hurting. And I think that the first step in supporting solutions towards amending some of the problems that exist on the ground is stepping up and saying yes to the Freshwater Challenge. So in case you are looking for more information or wondering how you can get involved in this, you can access more resources on the Freshwater Challenge website. It's freshwaterchallenge.org, or you can write to info@freshwaterchallenge.org for more information. If you're a member state and you're looking to join the coalition, or you're an NGO or a company that would like to know more about how you can support, you can reach out online. Or I think, again, I'm putting you two on the spot here, but I think you'd probably be okay if any of the member states wanted to reach out to you, either of you, Andrew or Iona, to ask more information about how you did it, what was involved, and also to the fabulous team at UNEP, who have a huge amount of resources. And Diana, I'm assuming that you're available, as I'm assuming are many others, including some of the partners that I see here in the audience, IUCN, WWF, and others, who have a huge amount of resources available to us. We have 3 minutes left, so in 30 seconds, what would you say to the audience today? Are there any other comments that you think you would like to make? Diana, I'll start with you, and we'll do a rapid fire, maybe like in 3 words or less, what you think about the Freshwater Challenge, where we are and what the opportunity is.
I think take this idea home and bring it into your own governing body or your decision making in your business, in your community. Take it home with you. What does it mean to work across communities, across topics? Climate, we're going to tackle climate, we're going to tackle nature, we're going to advance wetlands loss, and we're going to help people across all of the SDGs because of this action. I would say also, let's be change makers. Let's innovate. Let's not think about finance in the traditional sense, but let's break boundaries on finance and financing for water.
I love the idea about breaking boundaries, building things back up, and collective action. Buzzwords, they may be, but truthful they are. Iona.
Well, I would say that it's important for us as managers and decision makers to show how to do it. Because people on the ground, they keep asking what I should do to adapt. The mayors, the secretaries working on the ground. So it's not only talking about, but giving very practical strategic actions that put in practice will attend different agendas, combat to the desertification, the climate change, the water, and biodiversity. Which are these actions? So I think we should help them to find them, to give as a menu of strategic actions to be put in practice.
Yeah, it's a great comment about not only speaking and not only talking about, in places like this, but also doing in action on the ground. One of the Indigenous communities leaders when I was in Australia said to me, decisions would be better if leaders could understand that things are different on the land. And I think this is exactly what you're saying, that this is an opportunity to listen as well as talk and to do more than we speak. Andrew.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is let's walk the talk. That's very important. Let's just walk the talk. And it's not only government, it's government and various partners, including the private sector. Let's all own this process. That way, there'll be success. Thank you.
I love it. A great way to wrap up. So whilst we bid on farewell to our online colleagues, we are going to invite all of you in this room to stay with us for some more question and answers with our panellists. And as we bid farewell, just a quick reminder, please access any of the resources that are available online or from the individuals here. Andrew, I especially like your comment about let's start doing and let's start being. Iona, listen and act. And the team at UNEP, Diana, just the work that you are doing to continue putting a stake in the sand and saying this is our aspiration for where we need to go, and we're not afraid to create big, bold, audacious goals. We know it's going to be hard, but when we work together, we truly can make incredible things happening. So thank you to all of you. Let's make the incredible thing of the Freshwater Challenge even more of a reality for even more countries. Thank you very much.